Thank you so much for taking time to speak to us. The story of Joe Bwalya. Where do we start from?
Thank you very much, Steve, for inviting me, and good morning. I am born in Frila a long time ago, 1970 to be specific, and born to Benjamin Lambert Bwalya and Elder Chongo Bwalya, my parents, in a family of nine, three girls and six boys.
Let's talk about the football side of things. You crack open your career at a team called Mfurila Police. Just tell us how that love affair started.
Okay, around the 78, 79. As kids, obviously, we used to kick balls in the streets, chimpombo, if you ask me. So, but we'll go and watch this Mfrila Police because it was near us where we used to live. And over the weekend, we'll go and watch Mfra Blackpool with my dad, Mfra Wanderers with my dad. By then, my two brothers, Benjamin and Galusha, were playing for Wanderers. So you develop that interest of football. And at home, my dad, passionate football man, it was always football, football, football. Nothing much to talk about at home. So then I started going to this team called Mfra Police. It was called Muchindo then, Muchindo Police. So we'll go there before the team plays. We'll be kicking the ball on the field, and then the main team comes on. And then around 84, 85, I should have been 15 years or 14 or 15. I started just training with him, with my friend, with a late good friend of mine called Moses Mutali. One of the best young players I've ever seen play football in this country. Unfortunately, he's late, so he played for Wanderers after I'd gone to Europe. So we started playing there, and the officials there said, okay, you can play as schoolboys. It was all policemen. This team was all policemen. People of 25, 26, 27, 28, and we were only kids there. We were like 14 or 15. So it was playing in an amateur league. So we played 1 year there. Mutale, my good friend, was made the captain, and I was made the vice captain. You can imagine. And so we had fun. It was just for fun. And then the following year, I think 85, this was 84, I think 85, Wanderers were doing a tour. Mufre Wanderers were doing a tour looking for players. So they would come there and play every other team in the town. And they came to Mchindo and we played the game. And I was asked, country member asked me to come to a youth team of Wanderers. So I was like, so I leave this amateur and I go to the youth club. Okay, it was fine because it was Wanderers. So that's how I went 85 to Wanderers youth team. Out there I found Tenant Chilumba, found Harrison Wawachongo. I found Dr. Joseph Kabungo. He was our goalkeeper, former national team doctor. He was our goalkeeper. Then there was also Sandem Sonda, my good friend. He was now Kedaka, Kenneth David Kaunda chairman. And other guys that the names I can't just mention everybody. These are prominent people that I found there. So we started playing there as now as under 16 Mufra Wanderers for a year. So what we'll do is, what would happen, there was a ZCM league. So Chambeshi, Konkola, Power used to play because of they were CPC then, in Kana and Kabwe. So we had this league. U16s will play Kabwe, U16 will play Konkola. So you play on a Saturday morning so that in the afternoon you go and watch the main team. So we played there for like 3/4 of the season. At the end of the season, before the end of the season, I was asked, me, I think Harrison and Tennant, we were asked to train with the main team, Wanderers, before the year ended by Coach Akim Musek. So we crossed over before the end of 86, we crossed over to Wanderers main team, trained with the main team, and then we were asked in January 87 to come and be part of Wanderers. So that's how I got registered in 87 at Wanderers.
Now, let's talk about the rivalry at home. That year, 1986, is the year that Kalusha goes to Seco Bruges. But you're coming from a home that has talented players. Was that a motivation, or it was rivalry that would sometimes make you feel my elder brothers are too good at this?
85, Kalusha goes for trials to Belgium. 86, he signs the contract and he goes away. Benjamin My late brother Benjamin, may so rest in peace. May so rest in peace. One of the best players you'll ever find. Is left Wanderers and goes to Changa Rangers. So we don't have anybody playing for Wanderers. Benjamin is going to Rangers, Kalusha is going to Europe. And I start to dream now. I start to dream. I can, as a kid, I've always dreamed of playing football. Then I start to see things happening. I can, because now I'm at Wanderers, playing the youth in the reserves. I can play for Wanderers if I work hard. And I'm being told, I'm being pushed at home by my dad and mom. Work hard, and you can make this. Besides that, I felt okay. I was a young boy, I was a skinny young boy, but I felt okay playing with big boys. At Wanderers, I found Ashos Melu, Freddy Kashimoto, Ifo Chavala, great men of football, Laxon Manda, you can name a few, Philmon Salah. So it was like you from afar. You look at them from afar and think, it's impossible. But when you're in there, you think, well, I've got this package with me. I've got to play.
What was the attitude at the dinner table? I can imagine before he goes to Nchanga Rangers and before Kalusha goes to Seko Bruges. What was the atmosphere like at the dinner table?
Yeah, when you sit with that on the dinner table, you first of all you have to go through the whole week. You're going through schoolwork. What happened at school? What did you do on Monday? What did you do on Tuesday? And then it comes to football. Did you see that play? Did you watch that game? Did you see how that player played? Did you see how that one was doing? That one is gonna make it in football. Is a big player. That was that. That this instinct where you look at the player and say, this player is going places. Before you say it, that will tell you that there's a young boy at Nchanga Rangers, a young boy at Power Dynamos. He's going places. And you wait to see this guy now. You're waiting, so he will tag you along when the power come to the cover to Wanderers. He'll tag you along. Let's see. I want you to look at Alex Chol. His favorite player was Alex Chol. I want you to look at Alex Chol because he was at Blackpool, and I think my dad played a hand to bring him to Blackpool because he was an executive at Blackpool, and then he left to Power. So Alex Chol was dad's hero, and everything was centered around Alex Chol. You had to be Alex Chol. So go to Blackpool, go to Shinda Stadium and watch, and you look at Alex Chol. From the moment Power arrived, Dad would be like, I want you to look at Alex Chol. I want you to see his conduct. I want you to look at his behavior. I want you to look at the way he plays, the way he touches the ball, the way his intelligence. You had to see everything. So these were the usual discussion on the table with that. The usual discussion in the car as you drive to a football field or as you drive back home. Anytime it was about football.
Now you finally make it to Maite, and the shadows of your brothers are Nchanga Rangers and Seko Bruges. And I'm sure now there's expectation plenty that both your brothers were cult heroes at the named club.
Yes.
Did that put pressure on you as a person?
Yes, it did. Yes and no. Yes, it did. But in my own way, I always thought, I'll listen to people, and they'll say, okay, your brothers are very, very good, and I'll say that they're very good. But I always had this confidence about me. I always had this kind of, I don't know if you would call that arrogance, that I can't make this game. I can't make this game because it is me who plays football, nobody else. Kalusha, Benjamin, brilliant players, but I had my package to make. I had to be myself.
How do you treat the people you meet in the streets as you are training? There's always going to be a comparative.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that one? And possibly as you answer that, what role did your father have to play to actually make people believe perhaps you could be given a chance on merit and not that you are a son of someone who's very influential in football or you're a brother to some stars?
Dad will never go anywhere and speak to a coach or a chairman and say, play my son. He'll never do that. He never did that. Dad will give you the ammunition. Here is what you have. You are this good, you are that bad, you work on that. You have this thing, go and play football. That's the only thing you tell you. You hammer you in the house, Every time you watch a game, you come home, you'll slaughter you. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. You can't. You're not jumping. You're not sprinting. You're too slow. You're too lazy. Work on that. When you do that, you will play. That was my dad. So he'll give you that. He'll give you ammunition. Now go and play. I'll tell you a story of the first time I was called the national team, 89. 89. Early 89, we were camped in Luanshya. We had about 60 players in camp. There were two preparations. One had to go to Eastern Central. One had to go to Germany for a tournament. So at the end of the day, the German tournament was cancelled. So there was only Eastern Central. And I didn't make the Eastern Central group. So I came home together with Chicken George London. We were dropped on the same day. So I came home in the evening. And I get home. And the first person I see was my dad as I enter the house. And he stops me and says, "What are you doing?" Then I said, I've been dropped, I've been dropped. Then he says, he banged the door against me like, bam, and walked away. And my mother was like, okay. So dinner, he called me and slaughtered me. You are not working hard. If you're working hard with what you have in you, you can't be dropped. You understand? This is my dad telling me that. And I'm like, okay. I might have not worked hard. But I think I did. So I said, next time you're given a chance, take it. Because chances won't come again.
What did the national team selectors tell you? And did you expect that reaction from
my dad? No, I didn't expect that from dad. But I knew something like that would happen, but not really in the way that it like slammed the door on me. And Zumunjo, great coach of Zambian football, told me we were supposed to go to Germany and I think Uganda. Two teams you would have made, either Germany or Uganda. But this tournament is cancelled, so everybody has to go. And this team you can't make because it's all-star. This is an all-star team. You're too young. You're 17 years old. You understand? You're 17 years old. So go home, and then when we regroup, let's see what happens. So that was the word from the coach. So when I got home and dad did that, I was like, okay. I went in my bedroom with my late young brother. We were sharing a small bed. I was lying there and he was telling me, you heard what dad said? I said, yeah, I heard, and I was turning with it. And I said in the morning when I woke up, I went to fetch one of my good friends, and we went to town, and there was a studio, and I asked him, let's take a picture in the studio. Went in the studio, took a picture, and I said to him, when we got the picture, I said to him, this is the last time I should be dropped from my national team. It's not happening anymore. If I get there, it's not happening anymore. And I will keep this picture for remembrance. And I still have the picture with me. So when the team came back from Eastern Central January, I was called the national team. And then from there on, I got stuck. I was with them for a very long time until probably 98, I would say.
Let's talk about you now, becoming one of the senior cogs at Mighty Mfura Wanderers. You played with players like George Lwandamin, and of course you'd make coming appearances together at the national team. Just tell us through that journey from the 17-year-old boy who's getting hairdryer treatment from dad for failing to please him because he's so much of a big soccer fan, to being one of the senior cogs at Mighty and finally winning some silverware as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I joined Wanderers as a 17-year-old, and these big stars, Lwandamina, Ashos Melo, Ifo Chavala, big stars that you watch on TV on a Sunday playing for Chipolo Polo, then KK11. You're watching Charles Msonda just left. You're watching Zambia play Independence Stadium on a Sunday on national television, and then on Monday they're in Mfrila training with Wanderers. So you want to see how do these people do it. He's a big player. He's going to play for Zambia, and the next day is in Mfrila training. So that can only rub off you and say, okay, I've got to train. You've got to train. You've got to put in your shift to get anywhere near Wanderers. And by the way, Wanderers then was a team that wouldn't take a player from outside. You had to grow in the system to play for Wanderers. You had to be homeboy to play for Wanderers. Somebody who understands the values and cultures of Mufrila Wanderers. So every kid around the mine area, around the council area, dreamed of playing for Wanderers. And I'm pleased to say here, I lived my dream because I played for this team, for this great club. When they were every time at Wanderers, it was at full house. And you're a 17-year-old and you come out, the stadium is full. You get jittery, but that's the only way you learn, because wherever you go in this career, it's gonna be like that. There's gonna huge crowds. So you grow up quickly, you mature quickly. You have George Lund. I mean, I always tell him every time I see him, the piece of advice he gave me one day when I was supposed to play my first game. We're walking with him, and he says, "Son, if you're given a chance to play today, play as you play in training. Do not be afraid, but be simple." He told me, just one. I always remind him, even today, every time I meet him. Because of that, and people like that at that time, because of people like EP4 Football, because of people like Ashos Melu, I was a kid, but I was surrounded. Emmanuel Mlele, all there. I was surrounded by big names, and every time you're on the field, you were corrected. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do that. That's fine. Don't do that. Come back here. Go there. So you learn quickly as a 17-year-old playing for a team like Wanderers. So that's how I found myself playing for Wanderers and being a regular for 3 seasons, if I may say. Fantastic 3 seasons I had. By then I was still going to school, so it was fun. I'll play for Wanderers on Saturday, and Monday I'll be at school, and you get all this attention at school, from the teachers, from everywhere. You play these school tournaments. Fantastic. It was awful. Too good to be true.
What was the reaction of the alpha male this time, and what kind of conversations would you have with that? When that was happening,
Dad wouldn't miss a Wanderers game, but every time he had something to tell you. When you come home, I remember, because with him, when you play for Wanderers, you finish at 5, about 17:30. You don't go anywhere. He expects you to be home about 6 o'clock. Whether you've won the game or you've played well or you've lost, he expects you to be home. You should be seated with him.
Why was that?
That was a general discipline that was at home. So you're at home at 6 o'clock, you put your bags there, straight to the dining table, and you're with him, or in the living room, and he's telling you, okay. He was not a coach, but he had these things. He'll tell you, okay, that was good, but I think you can do better. That was very good, keep it up. Continue doing that, continue working hard. Today's game was not good. I don't know, you are not present. What was the problem? He'll give you that. So he'll give you checks and balances at home, honestly.
Were there a lot of social evils, and maybe with hindsight, he was trying to protect son from the glittering lights of fame and stardom, and that they would get to your head?
He was trying to prepare. He loved his kids, he loved his family, so every time with him it was straight. And discipline was number one in the house. His school, go to school on time, go to school looking good, come work hard at school, get your results, come here, go to play football, do your football, come here. It was like that. Do the housework and stuff like that.
Let's talk about Ashos Melu. Now, that's a big name right there. Just tell us the experience playing with him, warming up with him. And I hear that was the era when a lot of physical training was actually the norm rather than the exception. How was the atmosphere in the dressing room, and how did you relate with him specifically as one of the leaders in the team?
Yeah. First of all, these people took me as they played with Kalusha. These people played with Kalusha and Benjamin, my older brothers. And then I came in after some time. They had seen me watch football. They had seen me with my dad, so they knew me. So I came in there. So first of all, they had to accept you as a player, and you understand, as a player. So they had to see what you're putting in work, the work you're putting in on the field, in training. Like you're saying, it was more physical, so it was more. You arrive. Okay, you get changed. We're going to run from here to there 100 times. We're going to do these squats 50 times. Everything had numbers. It was not scientific like it is today. So you finish that. You do that, and you're getting stronger and stronger. Sometimes you struggle on certain things, but you're getting stronger and stronger as you train with them. And they were generally good people. They were big players that you look up to, but they were good people, and they taught you professionalism. They taught you behavior of a player. And you're a young boy, and they'll tell you, sit here, Okay, don't move. Do that. Do that. I remember in 1990. This is part of discipline of being a player. I remember in 1990 in Algeria, in Luanshya, where we were camping. We had like 30, 40 players, and I was the youngest. Should have been 17, going to 18. Yeah. All the big players, all these senior players, would go to play for their clubs sometimes over the weekend, and I'll go. And then when I came back, they had all this after training, all these dirty jerseys, dirty short socks, and I was the one to do the washing for everybody because this is part of discipline of a young player. This is part of growing up. So I had to do the drop things, okay, wash and make sure it's on the line, make sure it's dry, make sure you get it in and put it in my room. We had big players, what Wisdom, Chance, Beach, Kavala, Pearson, Mwanza. Yeah, I understand. So I had to do that as a young player without a frown. I had to do that because it was part of growing, part of the discipline that you need to go through. You are nothing. You need to get to their level, so you have to do this. So I will be there in the morning with clothes like this and just chop, doing that my calls, and then I'll put them on the line, and then they'll be dry. And these players have gone. Sometimes they've gone for a movie. We're free. They've gone for a movie, and then they'll come back. I'll fold it. Chabala's room, I'll put it nicely. Chabala's room, I'll put it nicely. Wisdom Chance, I'll put nicely for all the players. And I was glad to do that because for me, it meant a lot to me. For me, it meant a lot to me because I was saying, these people have accepted me, and I'm here trying to play for this nation that we love so much. But I have to do a job for them because we are in camp. You understand? Today's football, I don't think you do that because all the players are big egos. Sorry to say that, but that's the way it is. That's the way we grew up, and that's the way I love that. Every time I love the story.
Let's talk about silverware. 1988 is the year. Independence Cup.
Yeah.
Just walk us through that triumph.
Yeah, we're training in Mufrila. We have to play Mutondo Stars in a semi-final in Kitwe at Arthur Davis Stadium. Big game, semi-final those days was massive game. A lot of publicity. Wanderers is the passionate base of fans. You play for Wanderers, you see things that you never seen. So we drive from Mufrila. You work hard to be in the team. By then I was always in the team. I was I would say kind of playmaker for the team. I'll coordinate things for the team in the middle. You understand? I'll tie things for them in the middle. I was small, but it was get the ball there. Zomo said, let someone Zomo say, get the ball to Little Joe and get running, and he'll find you. That's the technique and that's the feeling that he has. Use him. So get the ball to him and get moving. He'll find you with the pass that you need. So I was there feeling, okay, here's the ball, and then people will be running and I'll be moving it nicely like that. I'll be trying, but it was not easy. I work hard. Then we play semi-final Mtondo. We win 5-3 just before extra time. Melu scores 2 times. I remember 2 times from a free kick. He would hit balls from a distance like 30 meters, and I was standing with him, and he put the ball there, and I looked at him and he says, "I'm going for it." I said, "Okay." And I watched this ball from there take off, and I know it's in from a distance. I know it's because keeper has no chance. It was so powerful. So we win 5-3. I think I contribute. What's the right word? I created 2 goals for Kenneth Chola. He scored 3 times. Kenneth scored a hat-trick. And now we're in the final. We played semi-final this week and final the other week. And then we drive to Lusaka. Training was hard because everybody wants to be in the final. Wanderers was known for playing finals. Out of 4 finals in a year, they'll probably get 3 finals. And probably win 2 finals. It was like that traditionally. You will struggle in the league, but you find yourself in the cup final and win the cup final, and everything about the league is forgotten. That was Wanderers then. So it come to Lusaka. My first time. No, that was my second time. My first time at the Intercontinental Hotel of Pamosi. So here's a schoolboy, 17 years old. You're at Pamosi. You're saying all these things. It doesn't happen. Then it doesn't happen. That's the first time I even saw Lotimwale, former boxing champion. We were seated in the lobby and he just walked in and everybody said, "That's Lotimwale. Big, massive. I want to be like that one day."
You didn't have foreign stars at the time, it seemed.
No, there was nobody. So we play Roan United and we win 3-0. Chavala that day, if I'm not mistaken, played on field because before Chavala would play, it was a mount. He would play in low, he would play on field. So he played on field. I think he scored 2 times. We won 3-0.
As a centre forward?
Yes. I played with Chavala as a goalkeeper. I played with Chavala as a centre forward. He would play there and he'll tell me all the balls to me because he was so good up front. He was so good.
Just paint the picture. The effort Chavala as an infield player. What once you get the ball and maybe he's in the final line with the defenders, what kind of pass works for him and how does it really work?
Before Chavala was special. He was gifted. I would call him a man of war. He was too good, super talented. He had this feeling. Eye contact when I was on the ball because you son, get the ball. So you're looking for spaces, and when you have the ball, this eye contact, just off the ball to him. He looks at you and he shows you where he wants the ball with the eyes, and you thread the ball there or you put it on top. It was too good. Never took a touch. For him, it was one touch and that's it. Whether it was a header or on the ground.
Who would you prefer playing up top as a playmaker, as in terms of being ruthless in front of goal? Through your time at Maite, who would you say I would rather play with? That one over there. Would effort be anywhere near?
It's a difficult take. It was a difficult one to take because Porchela, I played with Porchela. Porchela was a goal finisher of any kind, of any sort. He'll finish any ball. But if you wanted to be sure, you wanted somebody to dominate, you want in 11 games, I think in 10 games he played on field when I was with him. 8 or 7, he scored 11 times before Chavala. In the 7 games that I played with him. Constant, week in, week out.
Was there a conversation in the rank and file at Maite? And did you probably have the power to go to Coach Zuma and actually say, but Coach, that goalkeeper, why not up front?
We were too young, off the file. So Zoom was national team coach and Wanderers coach, and with Hakim Msenge. So Chavala would train on field, and they would decide among them that this week is going to play on field, and we have another goalkeeper, maybe Derek Atongo, maybe Peter Chilufya. So Chavala will be on field, and he never disappointed. Every time this man, I played with him about 7 games on field. He scored every game.
Could have played for the Chipolo Polo.
Definitely.
On field.
I'll give you that. Oh, definitely. We played, I'll give you an example. We played Cup, I think a semi-final, probably Heroes and Unity or BP, because I think Zanaco won it in the end. We played Zanaco at, then it was sensational Zanaco at Queensmead. Okay, at Queensmead. And Chavala played on field. Zanaco with Stafford Kayame at the back, the current, I think the secretary now or something. And Peter Chilinda, if I can remember a few, Sharp Sakala, that was a brilliant player for Zanaco. So we come to Queensmead and it's packed because of Wanderers. The stadium was packed to the rafters, like they'll say today. And I was a young man. I think I've heard that Dazo told me I was at the game that day. Desmond Mugao was playing left side. And inside 30 minutes, we were down 3-0. And then Chavala was like, okay, get me the boss. I have no service, get me the boss. So from 3-0 down, we were 3-3 in an hour. And Chavala scored 2 times. You can imagine. And then eventually we lost 4-3. I think Nelson Sharp Sakala scored the final goal for Zanaco. And they went on to win. I think they went on to beat Power. But that's an experience that you never forget for me, because it was Queensmead, small ground, packed. It was full, and I think the game was stopped at one time because people went on the field because it was a crack of a game.
Now, you actually win the trophy,
yeah.
But ultimately, we're almost getting into 1990 when you make your first move outside Zambia. I can't help but to take it back home. Now, Joe Bwalya is about to make a move to Europe. That's where Kalu is.
Yeah.
Tell us first, how did the the first deal to Cercle Bruges actually materialize? How were you spotted and
Um, in 1990, I was in the senior KK11 that went to India for preparation, and then we flew down to Algiers. That's where the Afcon was held. And of course, I was the youngest player in the group with Amokachi, if I can remember, from Nigeria, Daniel Amokachi. We were two youngest players, and the profiles and Zambia, the young players. So there's a lot of eye on you. Why is he here? Because Cameroon, we were in the same group, Cameroon and Senegal. Cameroon were supposed to play in the World Cup in summer in Italy, so they were preparing. They're using Africa Cup to prepare for the World Cup in summer. Senegal didn't qualify that year, but they had Julius Bokande in their rank and file. So, and you're there as a young player, so you're training every time, and there's a lot of scouts watching training, Zambia training. Charles Msonda was not there; he was injured. Kalusha was not there; he was injured. So, our big players up front was Webich Kabala, Wisdom Chancer, Timothy Muito, my hero. Timothy Muito was my hero. I looked up to him, and so we had a fantastic team. Eston Mulenga at the back. John Soko left, Changwe, Ford, of course, in goal. Melo didn't make it because he was in Greece then. So there was a lot of interest in Zambia, journalist-wise. We play our first game against Cameroon. We win 1-0. Chikabala scored, I remember. Then second one was Linus Makwaza scored. We beat Kenya 1-0. And then Senegal, I think we drew 0-0. So you attract this attention. And I think the people from the media and the Polo setup were talking, and probably that's when my name came up. And the tournament was over. I played in the third and fourth against Senegal. We won 1-0 to Kabbalah again, but we got the bronze and we came home.
And that was your substantive Polo proper debut?
Yes, officially, yeah. Officially.
It must have been a bundle of nerves, I'm told.
1990, Samuel Zomunjovo is making the lineup in the hotel room, and he goes like, because the national team, I wouldn't play in the middle, so I would play on the left side. So Zoom says on the left side we have, and he mentions my names. I'm like, Senegal.
Did you have a conversation with him before that?
No. After that, he called me in his room, and he told me, I'm going to play you today. Not because I think you cannot play, but because I think you can play. Because you're ready to play. The other games I was on the bench. I didn't come in. I'll warm up, but I'll go back to sit. There was an injury, warm up, come back. This game, he tells me I'm going to play you because I think you can play. You're ready to play. I took you here for you to open your eyes. I want you to see the top of South African football because the future is you. So I want you to see this game and I want you to play. Anytime, he told me, anytime you don't feel comfortable in this game, anytime you're out of breath in this game, anytime you feel something is wrong in this game, let me know. Immediately, let me know. And he told the senior players, I don't want you to talk to this boy. I will control him from the bench. Don't confuse him. It's a big game. So I went there.
He probably knew the dressing room he had.
Yes. So I go there, and it was tough. It was a tough game, and I was feeling out of breath, but I kept pushing and I kept pushing. It was not a game that you will have to remember much, but it was a fast-paced game, and in the end, we were celebrating. Chikabala scored. We won 1-0.
How was the level for you? Was it anything you'd ever done? Away from the nerves, of course.
It was too high for me, but it was a level that I would come to if I worked hard. It was a level that I would come to. I believed I would come to.
Did the game against Tanzania at Independence Stadium actually help you?
Yeah,
it's because you actually play there.
Yeah.
And actually get a goal there.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So did that pre-preparation actually help you for that stage in any way?
It's a difficult game. The game that helped me was in preparation in Russia. In preparation in India for the 20 AFCON 1990. We played against USSR then, Soviet, and there was solid team, and I played the whole match in the middle in my position. Zoom says you play this one. I played in the middle.
Number 8.
Number 8 with Kabala in front of me and Linus Magwaza and Debbie Makenka behind me. And that one, I would say I played the way I want to play, the way I thought I should play. I controlled things and I was breathing okay and I was seeing everything. So that's the game that showed me that, okay, because I played against USR, I can handle this. This is a different level. It's not Wanderers, it's not amateur, it's a different level. It's too high. National team is something else. That's why you have players, you see players later today that they do very well club level, but when you throw them there in a frying pan, it's difficult. It's a different stage. It's a different stage.
Okay, yeah. So from AFCON 90, you actually go to Seko Bruges. Let's talk about that one. You arrive at Seko Bruges. This is the second time the people there are getting a surname called Bwalya. Mm-hmm. And your brother was there. When you arrived there, what were your first impressions? And Lord and behold, perhaps again expectation plenty because this is the young brother to one of their cult heroes again.
Before I go to Belgium, I was supposed to go to Switzerland. When I came from AFCON 90, Wanderers officials were talking to a team in Switzerland. And I remember attending a meeting in Quito with one of my officials, Wanderers, that I'm supposed to go to Switzerland. And everything was done and dusted. And suddenly, people from Belgium came. Businessmen came. And they requested that they go to Mufrila and meet Wanderers, and then they met my parents. But then I was playing, I don't know where I was. I was not at home, I was with Wanderers playing somewhere. I just said that they were in Mufrila, they spoke to my parents. And I think, I don't know what happened there. The next thing I heard was that I'm not going to Switzerland. I might go to Belgium in the summer. Okay. So I kept playing for Wanderers, focus, because I said to myself, I've done 3 seasons with Wanderers from 87, 88, 89, 90. 90 was a season I thought this should be my season for Wanderers. I want to play better, I want to work hard, I want to do more than I've ever done for this club, 1990. And then eventually, ultimately in the summer I left for Europe. It was concluded that you go for trials in the summer 90. So I went to Europe to Belgium.
What forced that decision? Where was your father in all this? He appears to be a very influential figure in the decisions you're making.
I was not at home because I was busy with Wanderers. This weekend there, this weekend there. So now, when these Europeans came home, they had a meeting. I think some first official, they had a meeting with that. Then they went to Wanderers, they had a meeting because there was this Swiss thing happening. And me, when I came home, I was just told that you should be going to Belgium in the summer. So okay, but I kept playing because
that was bad. How did you break the news that
I heard it at Wanderers when I went to training? EP4 Chabala told me. That day we were playing in Quito. We were going on the bus because I used to sit with him in front, and he told me that you have to work hard now because you're supposed to go to Europe. You're supposed to go to Belgium. You would concentrate on the game. So we go to Quito, we play our game, and then you start hearing it. We had the white man for a manager at Wanderers, Mr. Beardsley. He also told me the next 2 days there's something being lined up for you in Belgium. Okay.
Meanwhile, your dad was mute about
he never said anything about it. My dad never said anything about it. Only when I had to go, finally in summer came and now it was time to go, and he says, okay, I wish you well and work hard, and those days you have to look after your brothers, you have to look after your sister, you have to look after us. Okay. So work hard. So I take your chance. So I went to Europe, I remember, and Charles Msonda picked me up in the airport. In fact, I traveled with him from London. Charles Msonda, we met in London. I don't know where he was coming from. Then we went into Brussels, and I slept at his home the first day, and then the next day he put me on a train to Bruges, and I met people there waiting for me. It was new, everything was new. I didn't know nobody. These people picked me up, put me in some small flat, and then 2 days later I was taken to the club where it was given kit. You do the trials here for 1 week or 2 weeks with the reserves. So the reserves have this program. They have a game the other day, they have a game the other day. and you're supposed, are you okay fitness wise? I said, yeah, I'm coming from the season that's running. From where I'm coming from, and I've been playing every week, 90 minutes, so I should be okay. And so we played this game, my first game. I can't remember the towns. We played some away game, and after 2 days, I was told by one man I came to know later very well. He told me, "I think we have seen enough." The coach has told me, "I've seen enough. We are ready to talk."
At that point, you didn't feel any pressure that my brother was here. What conversation were you having with Charles? Of course, same country, but
Yeah, we kept talking with Charles. Fantastic guy, fantastic guy. Um, and Siska and Kalusha was in Holland then. Um, then I told Charles, okay, I played in this game, and he says, how did you feel? I said, it was okay. Then he says, but you have to, it's fast here. The football is fast here, and you have to run and you have to do that. From what you used to is different. So I said, yeah, it was like this, and then the boys were pushing and kicking. So that's the way it is. You get used to it. So I was told by the officials, we are ready to talk. So the same person who had met me in the station came to tell me in the hotel that I think they have seen enough and they want to talk. So now I was alone. Who do they talk to? I was alone. And he says, okay, we'll go to the stadium and we'll meet them. And if you're not clear with anything, you can call your father. I said, okay, fine, that's okay with me. So we went to the stadium and we were in a meeting, and they started saying, okay, we can. There were no managers at that time. That personal manager would be sitting there. There's nobody. So at that time they said, we can give you a 3 years contract. 3 years, too long. Too long. Too long, because I was an ambitious guy. I wanted to play football since I was a kid. So it was too long. 3 years, I'll be stuck in here. And then I was just trained with the reserve team. Okay, so I said, let me call my dad. So I was given the phone there, and I dialed my dad, spoke to him, and I said, Dr. They're saying this and that. Then he says, okay, 3 years is fine. Are you happy? 3 years, I said, it's too long. He says, I'll take it. The monies, I wouldn't discuss the monies because it was Belgian francs, and I didn't know, I was young, but I didn't know exactly if you brought it in a dollar or kwacha. Okay, then they said they're going to send somebody from there to Zambia now to discuss the money issues one day. But I said, can I go to Zambia? They said, no, you're not going anywhere. You stay here. So I said, but I just came for trials with shoes for football. I said, no, it's finished. You can go there. So two gentlemen left, I think the following day or the third day to Zambia. And then I was told on the phone when I spoke to one of my friends, says, I've seen the papers that you've been sold to a certain team in Belgium and for this kind of money. So I said, oh, really? So we started laughing about it. So I was there, and then so now I went to the ground. I was introduced to the main team, and they told me you would train 2 times with the main team a week, Thursday and Friday. The rest of the days you train with the reserves for 1 month. So I trained with the reserves Tuesday, Thursday, main team. After 3 weeks, the coach of the main team says, you have to train here every day. You're not going to the reserves. So that's how my career started in Belgium.
what would you say was your greatest highlight? Let's probably even talk about your first game for the first team for Cercle Bruges, and you being inducted to a vociferous crowd there. Just tell us about that.
Okay, you go through your paces, you're training, and you play with the reserves, and then one day the coach says we are there, and a home game, I think a cup game against Standard Liège, I remember. And I was playing as a foreigner, by the way. In Belgium, there's 4 foreigners can play, 3 foreigners can play in the league, and a 4th one in a cup game. Those are the rules that they make, because there are 3 fantastic Croatian players, Yugoslavians by then. Fantastic. One was center forward, one was in the middle, in the position that I played, and one was a defender. Brilliant players. People that you learn from. Football every day when you see them on the pitch, work-wise, technical-wise, professionalism and all that. So there was a cup game, and I was asked that I'll play, being the 4th foreigner, I'll play. It was easy for me to play in cup game. And I played, I think I scored a goal.
Which position were you playing?
I played with this Croatian in the middle, but next to him. The coach fixed that I would be next to him because I couldn't play there, so I was next to him. So we worked together, and I think my first game I scored a goal, and I got the reaction. People were telling me through the papers, you had 7 out of 10 because they usually do that in Belgium. They give ratings every game. So you had 7 out of 10, which was, they told me is very good for a young boy playing for the first time. So good, and that's how I started. But I was nervous before going to the state. Driving, you drive, you don't camp, you drive from home to the stadium. You drive from home to a set hotel, and then from there the bus picks you up to the stadium in the evenings. First you eat, and then you go in the evenings. You play at night, and you arrive at the stadium. You're feeling it's different because you're training every day, but now it's a game, so it's different. So you never see, you go to the dressing room, you see all these guys lying on the tables, being massaged, being prepared for the game. You've never seen it before. It's new. So in the end, we go for warm up, and there's this noise as you come out for warm up, and you just pray to God and say, stay in control, and hopefully everything goes to the way you have planned, the way you have dreamed.
Was that a big culture shock that all your life now you are not camping, you're just going straight to the stadium just a couple of hours before the game?
Yeah, straight.
Was that a huge culture shock?
Yeah, it's big, massive, because you've come to your life. You've come to the Polo for 3 months for one game. You've come to the under 20. You've come for Wanderers every week. With Wanderers, it's every week. Thursday you're out of home. Friday camp. Saturday game you come back home. Monday, Tuesday you train. Thursday you camp. So this is what you know. And then you go to Europe and you're playing tomorrow night, and the program is on the board. It's professional. Everything is on the board. Just numbers, no names. It's just numbers. Your numbers. You're given numbers. When I got there, I was given 17, and because that's the number that I like, so I asked for that. So you see, your number is there, 17, and the program is telling you report tomorrow at 8 o'clock at this restaurant, at this hotel, and it's showing you at 10:50 you're eating, and it's showing you at 1:50 the coach has to talk to the players, and it's showing you at 16 hours there's a cup of tea, and it's telling you at 18 hours you leave for the ground. Ready for the game. So it's new. No camp. Okay. So you come, they drive you there, drop you there. I know the players come in with their wives and their girlfriends and their kids. It's new. It's culture shock. It's new.
Did the experience in 90 actually help you at the Africa Cup of Nations?
Playing with big boys.
Yes. In respect to this culture shock that you are going through.
Much what do you call that? Much intensity. Knowing that this is a high level game, it's A1 game. Yeah, you know you've been there before. But when you go with Europeans or in professional football, when you go on the field, when you go for war, it's something else. It's something else.
Interesting. What would you say was your greatest highlight with Cercle Bruges? Because you then left after a couple of years, and what precipitated that decision?
When I went on loan, I got injured when I was playing for Zambia in '94 in a game against Belgium in Brussels. Got injured, I got broken, so I was just recuperating. So I was asked to go and play for a year away. But what happened was before that, I played one of my best games for this team. I was probably man of the match a few times that I can remember. But yeah, in a career you have such moments. That's probably the highlight for me. Playing in the Belgian Cup final one time, scoring in the semi-final one time. Those are highlights. Having my family, my wife, then she was my girlfriend, joining me there to watch me play in the cup final. That was awesome. Having my brother Kalusha travel from Mexico to watch me play, that was fantastic. Charles Msonda, playing against Charles Msonda, Anderlecht, Cercle Bruges, Charles on the other side, me this side. Awesome
Yeah, highlights.
Because these are heroes.
Fellow countrymen and
yeah.
What's that place in Furila? Kamchanga, where you come from?
No, we come from Eastleigh. We come from Kamchanga. I was too young when Dad was living there. Then me, I've grown up more in Eastleigh. Yeah.
Let's talk about national team. You are there at 1990. 1992, you miss out.
Yeah.
Just recount that moment for us.
I come home. I joined camp and we were in Malawi to play friendly. The coach is then Fred Miller and a few other coaches I can't remember. Akim Hussein. And we had a good squad. I came late, trained Barclays and played a few sessions. By then, the interest or the outlook for the coach was more. It was more about the front line. And then by then maybe Mugaiwa was doing very well in Morocco. He was playing in Morocco that time, and we needed a striker. And so I was asked that, okay, of the foreign players that are coming, we need a striker. So we have asked maybe to come. Okay, fine. We were at Intercontinental. Maybe came. I was in the room. He came to my room. We shook hands. Okay, I was rooming with Patrick Band, I think, the late Patrick Band. So, okay, I have to go home. I've been okay. Shook hands and good luck to everybody, and I left.
Heartbreak? Because the little boy in you said, and you still have that picture, said that I'll never be dropped.
I'm here.
And then
this is my time. You know, it was my time to play. It was my time. I'd said I'll play 5 AFCONs, senior AFCONs. That was in me, written in me. And 92 was taken away because it had to start from 90. I was going to do 92. That was my plan. I was going to do 96. I was going to do 98. I was going to do 2000. So one was taken away.
Heartbreak? Hard done by?
Disappointed.
Unfairly treated, you felt?
Didn't think so, but being a professional player, I had to take it. Then I was a professional player to take it. I'd learned a lot of things, so I had to take it. And I had to go back and start working again. There was nothing more to do but go back and start working again.
Now, unfortunately, years later, some of the people you played with, some you grew up with, some you spent a lot of time with, perish on the coast of Gabon. Let's just recount the moment. Where were you when the news filtered to you that the national team has perished on the coast of Gabon?
To be fair, or to be frank, Zambia had played, I think, Zimbabwe here. And then there was a weekend free, and then they played in Mauritius. Am I correct? My memory serves correct. Then, from Mauritius, they had to travel to Senegal. I was asked to come and play the Mauritius game. Okay, not the Zimbabwe game, the Mauritius game. That was a fax that I saw in the secretariat, and it said if I play in Mauritius, there was a weekend free, and then they go to Senegal. And my manager said, well, we cannot let you go. You play in Mauritius, and what are you going to do that weekend? You're free. You're not doing anything. If FAS says they'll fly you back here, you play Mauritius and they'll fly you back here for that weekend, that vacant weekend, we'll let you go. Then you can join them in Senegal. It didn't happen because FAS couldn't do that. So I stayed home, sulking that this was my chance to go and play for Zambia, coming from Europe. I followed the proceedings. 0-0 Zimbabwe, I think, here, Independence Stadium. 3-0 in Mauritius, Kelvin Mtaliatrick. That following week, I lost them a bit. Then there was this day, I had an interview. Like I was supposed to have an interview, like we're doing, with some journalists from the French part. And they said, we go into town, we take shots first, and then we come to the apartment, and then we can talk. So we go into town, we take pictures, and then we go back to my apartment. I was with 2 Ghanaian friends that I used to play with. And so we were like 5 or 6 people. Then we arrived at my apartment. As I was opening the door, I could hear the phone ring, the landline. It was ringing. So, the phone is ringing. Went, it cut. disconnected. So we said, oh, let's start. Let's start. The moment we're about to start, first question, the phone starts to ring. And I pick it, and it was Kalush on the phone. And the way he addressed me is not the way he addressed me every day. And I knew something was wrong. It just went like, he doesn't call me Joe. No, he doesn't call me that. So he went like, Joe. So I was like, yeah. He went like, have you had anything? So I was like, hear what? Because my dad, then his health was failing him. So we were conscious of what's coming from home. So when he said that, I thought, Dad, you're talking about that? Then he says, no, I'll call you in a bit. If you hear something, let me know. And he banged the phone. I was like, what's this now? So me, picked the phone and called Mom. Because thinking it was more about that would happen than anything else. So Mom answered, okay, we are okay. Yes. What is this now? So now one of my Ghanaian friends was flipping the channels on the TV. The TV was on. And then he said, Joel, look at this. So I turned and I looked, and it was CNN, and I could read clearly. Zambia national, I can remember this very well. Zambia national team crashes. All on board die. Fear dead, that was what, fear dead. So I said, what? Then I knew that was what the call was about. So I picked the phone now and called Coach. I said, in our language, what is this I'm seeing on TV? Is it true? He says, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's true. I was supposed to go to the airport like right now, and I got a call from Faz that I shouldn't go. Because, in his words, he says, because Faz told me that the team's plane is missing on the radar, they can't find it. So for now, we wait and hear more details. So I said, but it's on CNN. He says, right now? I said, yes, go to CNN now. So she said, let me check. And then cut. Went back to CNN. And these guys who were supposed to interview me were like, no, we can't continue like this. Because of what has happened, we can't continue. We will cut it and then we'll do it another time. And from that time, the phone will ring every 3-4 minutes. You go on a call. Joe, have you heard this? Joe, have you heard this? Joe, this. That's how I found out that. Very, very sad. Charlie Mzonda was, he had just an operation that day, so he was in hospital, so I couldn't call him. I had to call him the next day. That's when I called him. Yeah, because he's just doing his knee. Sad moment. Sad moment.
Yeah. Now, your brother is captain of the team at the time, and everyone is expecting that team to go and achieve big things. Yeah. You come back home the first time after the funeral or during the funeral. Just recount that moment for us.
This sad moment happened in 28 April. Yeah, 93. So I came home May 20th or something, like a month later. When I arrived, I passed through Faz in a town center, and I was told, after all we talk about it, and I was told, we are going to play again at Faz, and we need.
Who was telling you that?
I think she was administrative secretary, Mrs. Magodi. I can't remember her title very well, but I know the name, Mrs. Magodi. She told me, we are going to play again, and we need people like you from Europe who have survived this to help us make the team. We already did trials here in Zambia. There's a group that's at Andrew's Motel, but we want you, Johnson Kalusha, to help us. If you can join this team. This team is supposed to go to Denmark in a week. everything okay. Danish government has said they'll help us. Are you ready to go with the team? I just arrived on holiday, and I said, for my country, I will do it. I will do it. But let me go home and see my dad. It's no problem. Let me go home and see my dad. Then I'll join camp. No problem. You can go. When can you come back? So we can we can do a ticket for you. You are going to Denmark. I said, yes. I'll be glad to go. So that's how I drove to Copperbelt. Saw my dad. He was in hospital at the time. We spoke. I told him what was said in the office. He said, okay, fine. You go back. Then you can go back tomorrow. I said, but you're not okay. He says, it's fine. It's for your country. Go back. You're doing it for your country. You will find me. That's how I left him free and came back.
Months later,
basically 2 days.
Yeah, fresh. That tragedy is on our hearts and lips as Zambians. Kalusha is quoted in the press saying, we must go back and actually play. Were you personally that strong at that moment? And was it the Kalusha you knew, you grew up with, you ate on the same plate with, as a boy who would say, look, at the height of
tragedy.
A tragedy like that, we are going back and we are going to fight?
That's typical of him. That's him. I was in Europe when he said that. I just saw it in the papers at the embassy in Brussels, because there was no Facebook and WhatsApp that time. So I went to the embassy and I saw
Did you have any conversation with him about the same?
No, I only spoke to him when I came home, when I came to Zambia. That's when I spoke to him on the phone.
And what was your bone of contention?
I would have wanted to play. If you had asked me, I would have wanted to play. I still want to play.
Okay.
So, yes.
After all is said and done, fast forward, that team comes in Denmark, Rod Paulsen is in charge, and we lose the 94 final. What was the feeling from where you stood? Were you thinking about those that had departed, or we were right to say we should continue and play?
When we go to Denmark, I traveled to Denmark with Shadrick Biemba, the late Shadrick Biemba from South Africa. He was a goalkeeper as well. He was also asked to come in, so I traveled with him. This is a guy I'd watched play for City of Lusaka before I kicked the ball for Wanderers. Now he was my teammate, national team. So I was a senior man, and on the way he gave a lot of counsel to me. He told me a lot of things. No, young man, this and that. They had been in South Africa for a long time. So fast forward it, we were in Denmark and we built this fantastic bond within the group that came through. People like Elijah Litana just came from nowhere to become a big person in football. A good friend of mine. Harrison came from Saudi Arabia then. No, he was not yet in Saudi Arabia. He was just playing for Wanderers. Douglas Mwamba. Manu Mnaile was there, I remember. And then Kalusha joined us, I think, in the last 1 week in Denmark. Joe Bwalya didn't join us. He joined us here when we returned from Denmark. So the bonding in Denmark, the Danish did fantastic to our team. Paulsen and his group, they did wonders. We came together, of course, because of Fred Miller always said, no, look, we have lost people, and we're here now to take this team forward. Please, let's do everything that we can do. We had usually chats like that around the hotel. Let's do what we have to do. Let's work hard and carry this team forward. So everybody was just grafting and putting his work and playing a few friendly games, and came back home. We arrived here on a Tuesday, pending Morocco game on a Saturday, the first game. So we arrived on a Tuesday. And when we arrived here, it all changed when we got here. Because now, when we got here, you could feel that, you could sense that the atmosphere in the country now is just game. Because when you're in Denmark preparing, you think, okay, we are this far and nobody's seeing us, and now obviously nobody's interested. Go through your paces. You come home on a Tuesday, Saturday you have to play Morocco. Suddenly from the airport you sense, oh, it's serious. We have to play on Saturday.
And going to Independence Stadium,
The actual day.
the bus is going into the stadium, and you look at the Heroes Eka.
First
Was
of all,
that more of motivation, or
we were called on a Thursday night, Thursday afternoon. We were called to State House by Second Republican President Joe. Thursday afternoon, we went there. He spoke to us. Told us, I'll be in attendance on Saturday. You have to do bad for Zambia. So everybody was aware of where we were. Came back to the hotel Saturday in the morning. We had breakfast at noon. Before we left, we were told we are not going straight to the stadium. We're going to State House to get the head of state. Is that so? It's the first time I was involved in such, because I know the other times Dr. Kaunda would just come to the stadium. But now we have to go to State House, fetch the head of state, and then drive this way. Okay, so the timings, instead of leaving 1:30, we're leaving 12 plus because we're going this direction. So, okay, we go there, and then as you enter State House, his motorcade is just turning, and he's behind the bus. His motorcade starts behind the bus. So you feel this sense of responsibility, this sense of importance.
did it start feeling like a bigger game than the one you played in 90?
It was much bigger.
Like no other game you've played at Independence.
But this was awesome. This was something else, because as you drive to the stadium, the roads are full of people, left side, right side, waving Chipolo Polo on, edging Chipolo Polo to go, and like you have won the game already, but you are going, and you know you haven't played the game already. So as a player, you're feeling it's going to be tough. It's not easy as lining up on the street. It's going to be tough. It's Morocco we are playing. It's not for argument's sake. It's not. Let me help us one. So we get there. And we pass behind before the tombstones were raised. We passed behind, and I think we actually stopped for a minute as we were driving. It was very slow. The traffic was very heavy, so we were staggering, and you could glance there, and there were just the graves, and the bus was quiet. In the bus, it was just quiet. And then we enter the stadium from the other gate. As we drive inside the stadium now, the noise that came there, I never heard such noise, except one more time when we played Morocco in Casablanca. Those are two noises that I can compare. There was so much noise in the stadium as you drive round, and in the bus it was just nobody said anything.
Tell me something. That game actually goes down in history as King Kalu scoring another free kick.
Yeah.
From where you stand, I see your career. Yeah, not many free kicks. But what was it in that game about your brother? Was it debatable when Zambia wins a free kick as to who takes it, who doesn't, who even dares touch the ball?
Even in today's game, if Polo is playing for now, Justin Shonga is a good free kick taker. We all know that, and he's proving to be. I knew him when he was playing for Nkwazi. He used to blast a few balls like that, and that time Kalusha was doing that in Holland. He was scoring free kicks. I think he scored for Zambia before a free kick or two. So when that moment came, we had a foul. You had to look where you are, where the foul was, in what zone, in what area was it. Did it require right foot, left foot, hard shot, curving shot, and most of the free kicks that we had were just around the arc that time. In the time of Melus, we had free kicks almost away from the arc and to the center circle. So for Melu to crack them, and now we had Kalusha taking them. It was just around there. So it needed somebody with a precise ball, a curving ball, a placed ball, hard ball, and in our era, he could do that better than everybody else. Joe Bwalya would hit a hard ball, better than anybody else in that era. But the free kicks where they were, it demanded somebody with a precise kind of touch, and Kalusha had that.
Was it something that you probably wanted to ask? Hey, big brother, how do you do this?
No, we in training will be Johnston, me, Wadeson, him, Kalusha hitting balls in training with the national team. He will be hitting balls from that arc, hard balls, soft balls, curving balls, precise balls, and you always knew as a player that in the free kick pecking order, I'm number 2, I'm number 3, I'm number 4, and he was number 1 because even in training he used to hit balls. And believe I'll tell you what, he scored goals on people know, and I've seen him score balls in training that people have never seen before.
So
I'm
just trying to think in training now.
Awesome.
Before that, I'm sure F4 Chavala would be in the goal. He managed to beat him a couple of times in training.
In my young time at Wanderers, when I used to watch training, Kalusha would do that with F4 Chavala. Despite F4 Chavala being very good goalkeeper, despite F4 Chavala also being a good taker of a free kick, he had this feeling, Kalusha, this feeling with the ball, that only him could do that at that time.
Was it part of the game plan? Now we're winning free kicks just outside the arc. Was it something that coaches would emphasize, or it was just coming?
It just happened. It just happened. Coincidentally, you have a foul and then you have Kalusha there. He would miss balls. There's times that you miss the same free kick. There are times that he scored the same free kick.
Now we have finally managed to sort out. We lose actually to Nigeria. Amunike, that guy. Where did he come from?
Amunike didn't play 5 games.
He didn't play the whole tournament.
He was just on the bench. He was on the bench. He would train. And we were doing our group from Celeron. We played, I think, Ivory Coast. We played Senegal, and then we played Mali, and we were in the final. And then we're in the final, and then Victor Ikpeba was playing for Monaco, and was suspended because he accumulated, I think, 2 yellow cards. Up stepped Amnik. And then he had
when you're walking out of the tunnel, weren't you asking, who is this number 11?
I knew him. We knew him. Let's say we knew him because he was playing in at that time he was playing in Zamalek in Egypt, and he was doing very well in Zamalek, but he could not break into the Green Super Eagles side. He was second choice because they had the Finidi on the right and Victor Ikpeba on the left. So in the final, he had a chance to play. It was a moment for him. He had a chance to play. And
you're not paying much attention to it.
You worried about, in our pre-camp talk, you worried about don't give JJ space in the middle.
Sunday
was his first tournament, so it was just calm. It was calm. Don't give JJ in the middle space. Defense, be aware of
Rashidi
Akini. In the air is good, on the ground he'll bulldoze you and stuff. So be careful. So those are things that you talk about. Corners, they are good because Finidi whip them in, and all these big boys from the back will come in. So be careful with such things. So that's your plan. So you don't see that one. It's not in your plan. And he scored 2 times, and the 2 goals he scored, it's not that he did very well. The first one, if I'm not mistaken, somebody tried to control it, and it went too far. And Monique was there just because the ground was wet. As we were warming up, it was pouring. So the ground was very wet. So the ball, it was difficult to control a ball or pass a ball. So our defenders tried to control, if I'm not mistaken, and it went too far. And Monique came from there. It was just like a lay, like you call it. And with the right, he hit it, and it was in. Okay, 1-1. They came back because we had scored first. Elijah, we scored first, and we thought with this goal, because we were solid, we were at that time we were solid. We thought with this goal, let us go into halftime. That was the agreement as we worked back to the center circle. Let us go into halftime with this goal, and then we see. But it didn't even take 1 minute. We were 1-1. So it just you're looking over your shoulders. I would like to see from where I'm sitting. I would have loved to see Nigeria. We go 1-0 halftime and see if they would have come back, because at that time we were a good bunch. We were solid together. So, and the second one was another mistake. Somebody not jumping, and it was just it came to him and he was on the line. We could score with the chest. He could score with the head. So it's not goals that he did that and that. So it became Amnike. From there, it ended him a move to Sporting Lisbon, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's talk about Bloemfontein. And I don't know whether that's your favorite goal of all time, the crack against Ghana. Reflections about that tournament.
Again, we're coming from 94. We are the same side. Disappointed semi-finalist in Tunis. We come to South Africa. We're a solid bunch. We feel the group feels we can go one better. We can actually win it. Now we can actually win it because we have more experience now. We are playing more close to home. We have a lot of fans coming from Lusaka, from Zambia, and everything just suits us, So we beating teams for fun. Apart from the first game against Algeria, 0-0, we're beating teams for fun. Our biggest game is against Egypt in the quarterfinal. We are 1-0 down. We go in the dressing room because this team is working. This team is a combination now of U23s and Chipolopol. We are in the dressing room and the team knows it will come back. It's against Egypt, and our coach Paulsen asked the team, "Do you think we can win this game?" We are 1-0 at halftime against Egypt. He says, "Do you think we can win this game?" He poses a general question to everybody, and everybody responds like, "Yes, coach." "Do you want to win this game?" "Yes, coach." "Go out and win." Those are two things he said at halftime. Nothing else.
Regards the tactics.
Nothing. "Do you think we can win this game?" "Yes, coach." "Do you want to win this game?" "Yes, coach." Then go out and win the game. We came out. As we're going, we regrouped. We have to win the game. We were early on the field because we spent like 3 minutes in the dressing room. Egypt was still in the dressing room. They came out. We were on the field. We turned the game. One of the best games I've seen Zambia turn. That one, because it was not easy. It was more about mental strength and character.
Who talks about Arab jinx with hindsight? We turned it around there.
Yeah, that was fun. That game I talk about it because we were playing Egypt and it's not an easy team. They had Elkas and that guy was playing in Germany. They are fantastic players and they were leading 1-0. And when they lead, they are going through that. They will just walk the game out. We came back second half because the coach said, "Do you want to win this game?" "Yes, coach." "You can do it. Let's go. Let's go win it. Let's go." He hammered, "Let's go." And we were out. And Lotta, I think Modon and Elijah did justice. In the end, 3-1, fantastic.
Favorite game for the national team?
Yeah.
By far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's go to 97, shall we? Zambia, at that point, has never made it for the World Cup. We missed out of USA 94. And now it was a little matter of France 98. And that game in 97, that broke our hearts. Let's recount the moment, shall we? From your personal feelings and remembrance.
Yes.
What really happened that day? Where did we lose the game?
Zambia, South Africa. That's what you're talking about. Here in Osaka, January. It was in January, I remember. We had assembled one of the best sides. Again, everybody was here. Everybody was present. The team had, before I came in, the team had probably done training on the Copper Belt, camped on the Copper Belt and here in Osaka. we want to go to the World Cup. We have missed AFCON 94. We have lost in the semi-finals, AFCON 96. It's still the same side with anger and vision and passion to go to the World Cup. This is our chance. We're playing South Africa, our rivals, at home, first game, January. We're fresh from Europe. Okay, we're here, we train, and then come the game. 2 days before the game, Barclays. We're training at Barclays. You see, almost everybody is in good form. Almost everybody is putting everything they have to put in. You hear the media as their own things, because you're in camp, but you read the papers. In camp, you watch television. So you go on TV, you hear there's this lineup. There's this one is playing. This one is not playing. Okay. Ask the players. The only person who tells you you're not playing or you're playing is the coach. Someone Joe was the coach.
So just break it down. What was the rumor mill, and what was, you make it feel like there was something discomforting about what you were hearing and reading.
Yes. We had frontline wise, we had all good players. Kenneth, Johnson was around. Gaby, I think, was around. Linus was around. So you could feel that places were expensive in the team. Places were becoming expensive, but it depended on who is ready to play. So everything was okay. We went for the last training at Woodlands. Yeah, Woodlands. I think we trained at Woodlands, and we were ready to play South Africa. Then in the morning, you start to hear negative comments. No, this one is not playing. This one is not playing. This one is injured. We are trained.
What was the story? What was discomforting?
We were probably too many in camp. We were too many good players in camp, and that's what I would say about it. I wouldn't want to say this one didn't want to play, this one didn't want to play. But that's what I felt. We were in camp, and the team was made on Friday evening, and those who fell off the team, I think, separated themselves from the team and started a few rumors around. I think that's what I felt.
So would it be fair to say we lost before
we were
they actually played?
I don't think we were united enough, like we were in Casablanca, or like we were in Tunis, or like we were in South Africa. Just on the actual day of the game, we were okay. All along we were okay, and then just Zita, you're playing, Joe, you're not playing. That's the lineup. 18. CAF to CAF, send it to CAF. And then I'm outside, I felt, okay, why am I outside? We said, for the first time I saw that national team, people were asking, why am I not in the team? You could hear that people, why am I not in the team? So they were off the team.
Did, as leader of the team, your brother probably had a lot of influence because he had played for the national team a long time. How did things seemingly just deteriorate in that moment of time without that thing being managed, in your view?
You are concentrated on the game because it's an important game. Kalusha was captain. He was an influential captain as regards to the field. So he'll never go out of his way as captain to decide what happens with the team. His role was to make sure the team was firing. His role was to make sure everybody was behind the team and they were going forward. That was his talk as in the briefing in the morning with the coaches when they asked him to say something. His role was, guys, we are playing at home, let's go. We need to win this game. Guys, we are playing away, let's do that. That was his role.
But in his demeanor, did he admit that there's a problem and we are firefighting, in your view?
No, I never discussed it with him. Never personally, as a brother, I never discussed. As a player, I never. We never when we were in camp. The years that I played with him, when we were in camp, we never discussed anything as player and player for the team or as brothers outside the team. No. The only thing we did when we joined camp was shake hands and everything okay? Where you coming from? Is mom okay? That's all. And then we leave it. Football took off. We tried to stay as professional as possible around that.
It's hard to believe.
It is. It is.
What was it about the two of you that made it possible?
To
To
like,
quote unquote act professional, as you put it, sentiment aside, you are my fellow
yes,
professional
yes,
and not
yes.
my brother here.
I wish you would speak to other people that I played with, because there's record or the stories where I'll argue with him on the pitch in training. I'll fight with him on the pitch like I'll fight any other player. That is professional, because I didn't look at him as my brother. If I thought this was wrong, I'll fight him. And that's how we took it, professional as possible. And if he had to hammer me because I did something wrong on the pitch, he hammered me in front of everybody.
You missed out on Bobo Dialas,
Yes.
1998. Again, you miss out another major tournament.
Yeah.
The Ghost of 92 has visited you again.
Yes. I got injured in Gambia. We were training in Gambia. We were playing a local side a week before the first game our first game was against Morocco. Was that Morocco? Yeah, or Morocco, Egypt. Just a few days away from that, in Gambia, I had a bad ankle. I was hacked badly. And Zise, then the coach, although for me not, because he came with other motives. He called me in his room, he called the doctor, and they explained to me, we counted the days, it's 4 days away from playing, and your ankle is still swollen because it was still big. I can give you another day to see what will happen, but if it doesn't swell up, it's better I bring in somebody, because we're like 20 something. It's better I keep somebody who will play Morocco, who will play Egypt, and who will play the other game. Then I keep you. You won't play Morocco. You might not play the second, because games come like in 2 days. You might not play even the third game. You'll just be here. So, yeah, you are agreeable that I was a professional player. I was looking at my ankle, and I could hardly walk. And Morocco was 4 days away. And we agreed that, okay, let me go home. And that's how I left Gambia.
A lot of people regard Boga Aziz to be one of the most controversial. Some perceive him to be the worst coach. Would you openly and bluntly say that there was something funny and dodgy about the man?
No, when
in honesty.
Yes, in honesty, when you bring these coaches, when Faz engages all these coaches, they interview them first of all. Obviously, they see their track record for them to get engaged. And Zese was employed as coach national team, and I was a player then, a professional player, and I come in, and first thing I have to respect the coach. I've never seen him. First thing I came in, he was at the airport when I arrived. My dad was very sick. I asked to go home. He didn't want me to go home to see my dad, so already I was feeling, why? Then he says, because we are here to play football. Okay. So I called my mom, spoke to dad. Dad said, okay, it's fine, stay there. I stayed in Lusaka. I started training.
Wasn't there a similar need with Kalusha to go and see the big man as well?
There was.
And he declined for both of you?
No, Kalusha came straight into property house. And that's, if there's a history of why he's coming straight, is he selected? There was those stories. Why is it? I haven't called him. Why is he coming to Bobby Delaso straight? Because he needed to be here. Because I was also told, prior to going to Gambia, I was told there were 2 games that were played in Lusaka against Nigeria, and I didn't come. And he was very upset with me, the coach, Booker. Said, why didn't you come? Because I made my team based on that. So there was a lot of here and there, but this to answer your question, not the best coach that ever happened to this country. And I hope never to have such a coach again.
Finally, Joe,
Yes.
what would you say was the greatest highlight of you actually investing half of your life, if not all of your life, to football and playing for club and country? What was the happiest and what was the saddest moment?
The happiest, I'll say the happiest. The happiest moment for me was to don the sport polish. Every time. U17, U20, senior national team, playing for Zambia was everything that you grew up dreaming to. And when I did that, I lived my dream playing for Zambia. The best thing that can ever happen to a player, to a kid who wants to play football. And the saddest thing was probably not losing everybody. Our colleagues, 93, one of them not going to the World Cup is something that haunts me today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zed.